Born in London, so yeah, English, but my family is Nigerian. So I suppose like always, as many like first generation kids, right? Like you live in the UK, but when you go home, like you're in Nigeria basically. So when you get in the house, you're Nigerian. So I would always consider myself as being Nigerian first and British second. Yeah.
Nice. And what do you do?
I'm a musician and I'm a financial consultant as well. So I have a company back in the UK and we help businesses looking to raise capital. So we try to educate them and find the right capital that works for their business. So I've been doing that for I kind of studied economics and did financial advisory, but I've been running my own thing for like 3 years now. Yeah, that's what I do. But music is my main passion and I've started late in terms of committing to music, but it's definitely where the next time you ask me what I do in like a year, it's just going to be music and whatever else is around that.
Amazing. So you said you started late, so how old are you?
I got the grey hairs, boy. Got the grey hairs coming out. But yeah, 32 in June, actually. So yeah, man. I'm still young anyway, man. I'm still young.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I love
For
it.
like 30 is the new, in fact 30 just 30. Like we still all have a lot of life left. So yeah, man, it feels good being 30, 31 actually.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like you come into your own a bit more when you reach a certain age and yeah, life is good. Or better, and will be better.
So Nigeria. So do you go back every year? Is that the thing, or?
Yeah, growing up, so I used to go back pretty much every year. I actually lived there, like as a child for a bit. Kind of went back and forth, so I've always kind of been back and forth. So as a like little child, we lived there for like a couple of years. Then back in like high school, well secondary school is what we call it in the UK. So when I was like 14, the whole family moved back. So everyone was like, oh, you're getting shipped back to Nigeria. But really, we all moved back. So I was there for like a year and a half. Kind of found it, I liked it, but I found it difficult to adjust to like the school system. Obviously I'm Nigerian, but I'm British, so I was kind of in the middle. So it's like you go to Nigeria, but people see you as like, they used to even have a name for it. They used to call it the Innit boys. So because we was in the UK, like Innit's like a slang that we would use. So yeah, I was an Innit boy back then. So it kind of caused like, I suppose me, I don't really want to say rebellious because it wasn't like intentionally being rebellious, but I kind of got into like trouble in school and I was skipping a few classes. And in Nigeria, that's like, compared to in the UK, that's like a massive thing to like skip a few classes in school. So my parents decided that was best for me to actually move back to London. So I kind of did the opposite of what people happen when you get in trouble in the UK, you get shipped to Nigeria. I kind of got shipped back to London and they're like, just go back to school, just get back into the flow of things. So went back to London, finished like sixth form and then uni, and then moved back to Nigeria again, actually afterwards. So it was like, okay, I left then, moved back again intentionally, like for myself. Did like what's called like National Youth Service. So it's basically everyone who graduates from in Nigeria and wants to then work. You can find ways around it, but generally most people have to go to like a 3-week camp, which is originally started after the Nigerian Civil War. So in order for Nigerians from different cities, because there's so many different different religions, different cultures, different languages in Nigeria. So they wanted us to all sort of mingle together. So they would send you, if you live in Lagos, to somewhere up north, and you stay there for 3 weeks, and you have to like do some sort of work up there as well. So I decided to do it because I thought it'd be cool to like really, like as an adult, like really just like get to know my roots a bit more. So I did the whole 3 weeks, met some really dope people from like all walks of life. And then I lived there for like a year and a half, worked in like an investment bank out there. And I was like, you know what, it's time, at least I've had the experience and I really enjoyed it. I made like some great friends out there as well. And it really took me from the in-between Nigerian to being more I'll say, more grounded within like the culture as an adult, and having more relationships there that were like more genuine and not just people from the school, if you know what I mean. So yeah, it's always home really now. So yeah, then moved back to the UK and blah blah. Long story short, I'm here.
Wow. So what was that like then, growing up between two different places? And did you ever feel like an outsider, like you said, like the in it guys or in it bros, like?
I think in the UK, no, because I was always, I don't know, I was always just, there's loads of me, you know, there's loads of Nigerian British people or Ghanaian British people or whatever, Caribbean British people. So it was always chill in the UK because there's just so many of us. But in Nigeria, you definitely, especially like, well, back then, you'll definitely kind of stand out. Like accent, obviously the way we talk, the way we dress is different. They can spot you from a mile away that you didn't grow up in Nigeria. Your skin complexion is even different. Like it's a different sun. Like the sun in Nigeria makes your skin different. Like there's just so many different things. So like it definitely made me feel. I'll say I kind of wanted to be like accepted actually by Nigerians as like I like this is me. Like it just happened to be that my parents managed to get out of Nigeria, and I was born in the UK. But like I said, I always felt like I am Nigerian more than I am British. So yeah, it was definitely like me like trying to speak pidgin English, and me like, and it just never really sounded the same. You know, you can't really speak pidgin English with a British accent. It doesn't really work. But just trying to learn, just trying to be, I suppose, more, we'll say homegrown, you'll say in Nigeria, like be more homegrown. But now I realize, you know, like there's power in being in the in-between, like, because I just have a different perspective to life, and even the same things that they see, I might be able to see it from a different perspective and be able to like add value from my perspective. So now it's not like I'm not trying to be accepted by Nigerians. I just am, and I know that I am. So I can just be myself, and yeah, that always works. Yeah. So
what was family life like then, growing up? Sounds like you were kind of traveling around and moving. So
a little bit. So I've got two younger sisters. I'll say my dad moved back to Nigeria like before all of us did. So it was like seeing, I suppose, the detachment at the time from like my dad for like a couple of years, while he was trying to like make a little base in Nigeria to make it comfortable enough for us to come. Because especially back then, even now as well, like Nigeria is all about like who you know, and the longer you're like on ground, the more of a base you can build with like relationships, and it just makes it, I suppose, easier to actually build something out there. So yeah, it was kind of weird, like obviously not seeing my dad for moments in time, but it became normal. It just became like, oh, this is just it. Like, it's not even a thing anymore. And then yeah, I guess I kind of got much closer to my mum at the time as well. So I'd even say it wasn't until probably, I'll say like maybe even like 2021 that I really like got close to my dad. That was really like, oh, like yeah, like we're guys now. Like so he's like my guy, he's my friend. But it wasn't until I went back to Nigeria at like 21 that relationship started to actually grow into something that was not just father and son go read your books, but you know, father and son having a real discourse type thing.
Yeah.
But yeah. Always firstborn as well, so I was going to say. So there was always that like responsibility to be the example, I suppose. So that was always that pressure as well, being the firstborn. Yeah.
So yes, I guess you were like the man of the house when he wasn't there, I guess.
Yeah, well, I didn't really feel like the man of the house. I was still like, you know, I was 13 at the time actually. So yeah, yes and no. But definitely it was like always in the back of my mind that like what I do is a representation of like the family, and my sisters are looking up to me and But yeah, I kind of grew out of that, and after a while you realize that your life is your life. So regardless of what you want to do, your family are always going to do what they want to do anyway. So, if I'm like doing what I believe to be right, it's always going to be a good example to them. So I don't really think about that anymore.
Yeah. And so they are all back in Nigeria now?
So all of us kind of had a similar, at a similar-ish time, moved back to the UK. So when, I think all of us maybe around like 16-ish, went back to the UK and then did like sixth form or college and then uni in the UK. And then, did my sister go back? One of them went back to Nigeria, but now they're all in the UK. So both of them just in London. Because Nigeria is not easy to live in. Especially if you're used to having structure in some ways. Nigeria is very unstructured. It's getting a lot better. There's loads of pros and cons, like living anywhere. But yeah, I think we all just decided that now isn't the time for us to live there. But I feel like it's always an option for us to eventually maybe live there. Like, at least I definitely know my younger sister for sure. Especially because she's the youngest, right? So she really grew up in Nigeria for like the longest period than we did. So she's, I'd even say, more like homegrown than we are. Yeah.
Wow. So it's like you both kind of grew up in different cultures almost.
Almost. Although, like I said though, like in the house it was always Nigeria, innit? So it's the Nigerian culture is so like fucking strong, man. It's like, it's overpowering even. So no matter where you are, man, if you're Nigerian, that culture's in you. I even know friends who haven't even really lived in Nigeria or even been there as an adult, but you can just still feel that culture just ingrained in them because it's just so powerful for whatever reason, but it just is.
What are some of those things?
How do I explain? We're like we're very proud people. I'll say good and bad, because there's a lot of ego in Nigeria. So it's very like driven on ego and who is the like bigger person basically. So everybody wants like the biggest house, the biggest car, the biggest everything, and that's how you show, I suppose, your status or even your self-worth potentially, or whatever reason the culture has become that. But also at the same time, it's very loving. Like it's still very community based. Although I feel like probably because of religion and other factors, it still can be quite fragmented in terms of like people having different beliefs or growing up in the church is very rule based. So a lot of people, a lot of Nigerians, me included at a point in time, believe that you have to do life a certain way because that's the way it's done. So like whether that's you have to go to school to do to be a doctor or a lawyer or whatever is on the list. There's certain things on the list that you can do, or you have to get married by a certain age. You know, you have that pressure to get married at a certain age. So I'll say it's very rule based for good or bad. But yeah, we like to party, man. We're fun people. So like everyone goes back in December, and we decide to have a good time. I feel like because there's maybe it's a reaction to all the other stuff that happens in Nigeria that we may not be that happy with, but we still find a way to just enjoy life, man. Just like, yeah, so whenever I go back, it's just a good time. So I definitely like that part of the culture. Sure. And we have the best food, the best jollof rice.
Yeah, that's all I hear about.
Listen, they need to know. They need to know. The best jollof. What else? We got nice beaches now, actually. It's definitely getting more although we don't focus on tourism, I feel like Nigeria can definitely, in terms of like the nature that's there, like it's so vast. Hopefully there will be a time where it's more open to having more people come or just tourists just to check it out. But Ghana's definitely winning in that section right now, for sure. Yeah.
Nice. So I kind of want to take it back to kind of like what you're doing now and the music as well. So like, when did you have that shift where you're like, you know what, I don't want to do well, obviously you're currently still doing the financial stuff, but what was that point where you were like, I need to give music a go?
Well, there's been many points, actually. So I'll say the first time was maybe when I was, I don't know, like 22. And then started to make music again, like properly. Had like an archive of tracks. And then I suppose at that age you don't, or I didn't necessarily like have, I suppose one, like the belief to like commit to it. And then also the subconscious, I suppose, belief as well that I need to go down the other route. Like I've got my degree, so I have to go down the financial route, so I went to work for an investment bank, like I said, and like fintech companies and whatnot. And I kind of just parked the music to the side for a while. But I feel like it's just one of those things that I'm meant to do. So it was always a reoccurring thought that will come back into my head. And at 26, you're like, it's kind of late now. I can't really start now. So I'm going to just focus on this. And then at 28, it's kind of late now. I'm going to just focus on this. And the irony is that, at 31, I'm like, fuck it. There's no time like the present. It's not late, actually. Like, there's still plenty of time if I choose. But the reason why, what definitely happened before I came to Bali, actually, so that every time I'll get in my car, driving anywhere, like I play music like anyone. I used to play like instrumentals a lot. And then when an instrumental like just touched me and I was kind of freestyling or rapping or singing over the instrumental, I would get goosebumps. And at the time I was working on myself a lot, and I was working on, I suppose, like my intuition and trying to trust it more. And I was like, wait, if my body is physically telling me every time I perform to myself, obviously, that it's something that I really, really love to do via the goosebumps, then it must be a sign that I should listen to. So in the back of my mind, even coming out here, I was like, potentially, like if it happens, like it's gonna happen. And then came out here and things just kind of, I feel like Bali is a special place where if you're open to it, things kind of come to you. So randomly met an engineer that I can record and mix tracks at. This was like maybe the third week of me being here. And then randomly a friend a song that we recorded 2 years ago, my friend was like, yo, I want to drop the song. And then he dropped the song like maybe a few weeks after that. And then from there, it just started to spiral. I was like, you know what, why not? Like, this is actually what I know what I want to do, what I'm supposed to do. And now at this age, or with like my, I suppose, life experience, I can be very intentional with the music. Versus if I had started back then, I'll be, of course, a lot further down the line. But the way I think now and the way I can process and deliver whatever I want to deliver through the music, it could be a lot different, because I would have gone through a completely different journey if I had started music back then. So I'm definitely grateful that now I can make music that I'm proud of, and it's very, like, just very intentional. I'm just trying to spread like certain messages, and I'm trying to make music that the way it sounds very maybe pretentious when I say it, or it sounds like whatever, but I'm trying to make music in my own way, as if like if God made music in my own way though, this is what it should come out to, or this is what like feeling it should give people, or this is what like frequency it should put people on. Because like music is so powerful, right? Like it's a spiritual thing, really. Like music is probably the easiest way to get into somebody's subconscious. So if you're delivering music that makes someone feel a certain way, for me, why not make them feel powerful, I want to make them feel happy, I want to make them feel like they can accomplish whatever they want. So, and that's what I need for myself as well. So I do it for myself, and then I share it with other people. So hopefully, if it helps me, then it should also help other people as well.
Yeah, beautiful. It sounds like it's really kicked off for you here. So I'm curious, like, what are some of those beliefs that you had when you were, let's say, back in London? You really wanted to, you know, the music runs through your veins, but you didn't stop. Like, what were some of those beliefs that you had why you didn't start doing it?
I guess I touched on it, on the belief that you, like, being creative is a hobby. Like, it's not something that you do seriously. Like, what do you mean go read your book, is what my mum would say. Like, what do you mean? I couldn't even say, oh, mum, I want to be a musician back then. I just wouldn't really take it seriously. So I suppose I didn't have the like conviction to follow what I wanted as opposed to what I thought or I believed that my family wanted of me. So now I suppose my belief has changed from, and it also comes from probably being firstborn as well, because you're always kind of reminded that what you do represents the family. So like in a Nigerian household, studying economics and, you know, working in finance represents a family in a way that makes them proud. So they can go and tell their friend, oh, my son works at da-da-da-da, and everyone's happy. But now my belief is, I feel like as long as I am doing, like I think I mentioned it before, but as long as I'm doing what I feel like is right, and my version of right might not be the same version of right as my family, my friends, whatever it is, but my version of right, if I'm like following that, then eventually, if they love me, like if they care about me, eventually they see what you're doing, and eventually they see like, oh shit, like this is real, like this is real. The other stuff you're trying to do, yeah, that was for us and it's real too, but this is actually real. So I feel like it's funny because I've never seen my dad like as proud of me as he is now, just because he can see that it's like, this is genuine like passion, like, so he's like super proud. Versus if I would have done it 10 years ago, he would have been like, boy, what you did, you know? So yeah, definitely just shifting that belief of like, what I believe is right is what I should actually follow and not really ignore the noise, basically. Yeah.
That's awesome. And so your mum feels the same way as well?
Yeah, mum too, but she's definitely more conservative, more chill. You know, she likes to read her Bible and relax. But she's definitely super proud. But my dad is just more vocal. He's more like out there changing his profile picture to me and stuff, and like sending it to all his friends, like he's just gassed. So yeah, man, it's been nice.
Yeah. So you've been in Bali for how long now?
Almost a year. Wow. Crazy. Actually, a year now. Just hit a year in April, right? Yeah, just a year.
And so, why Bali? What was that story?
Why Bali? Say how Bali first. I'll say, obviously, like a lot of us, COVID happened, and I realized that I can work from home, and business was still doing alright. I was able to communicate with people over Zoom, so I was like, okay, cool. Whilst everyone in the UK was running to get toilet paper and like panicking and shit, I actually read this book, funny enough, just before the pandemic happened, on how to outwit the devil, by Napoleon Hill. And he talks about how, like, in his perspective, he'll call it the devil, which is like the negative energy. So fear and control and all these things that we saw happen during the COVID pandemic. So I was like very timely that I read that book before it all kind of popped off. So when it happened, I was looking at it and I was seeing everyone react in fear, making like irrational decisions because of fear. So I was thinking, okay, what's like the most non-fearful thing I can do during the pandemic. Okay, I can travel. So first I thought I'm going to go to Portugal because it's near. I can always fly back for meetings and stuff. It's convenient. And I was like, you know what, fuck it. Why not think a bit bigger? And I was like, okay, I can go to Asia. So I started to look at Thailand because Thailand was an obvious destination that people go to. And I saw Bali and I was like, as soon as I thought Bali, I don't know what it is, but I was just like, yeah, this is it. Then I started just doing loads of research, figured out the cost of living is super economical. Like most of us probably watch YouTube videos. And I was like, yeah, you know what, I'm just come out here for a while, see how it goes. Sold my car, sorted out stuff in my house, my flat. And then, yeah, man, just moved out here. Thought I'd be here for deep down, I think I knew I was going to stay. But I told people that I'll go for probably about 6 months, because that's how long the visa lasts for. And then, yeah, I feel like once you get here, and I was having a thought the other day, if I had to put it in one word, why Bali, I suppose, why it not brings people, why it keeps people, why do people stay in Bali when they come? Because other people come and they're meant to be here for 3 weeks and end up staying for a year. And I feel like it's, at least from my perspective, the word I used was nature. And yeah, nature in the normal sense, the waterfalls and the greenery and wherever, the mountains, the volcanoes, all of that great nature, but also nature in in just a human way. So if I believe God is nature, so if all nature works together, right, in ways that I don't fucking know, but the ecosystem all works together in some way, the plant, the leaf from the tree falling on the soil, it all works together in some way. So I feel at least here from my experience, and probably if you're open to it, I feel Bali allows you to have that feeling of nature but with people. So it's I can walk down the street now and see a random Balinese person, smile at him and have I'm shit at Bahasa Indonesian, but I can have a conversation if I want to. It's very open. It's very everyone seems to be more aware of each other here, as opposed to in London. I get on the train, you avoid eye contact, you try not to look at anyone, everyone's on their own mission, it's very individual. Whereas here I feel although yeah, you still have the individual side to it, but it definitely feels more of a collective energy where people are just trying to make things happen. Then you have the expats or the foreigners here who tend to all be either creative or working on something, or very few of us are just here to chill. Unless you've already made it and you're already multi-millionaire and you're chilling, the rest of us are all on our ways to creating things. So even within that, you have that side of nature where we're all kind of helping each other in some ways. So we're all connecting and we're all having conversations and we're all, it's more expansive. It's more people are trying to grow and trying to create things. So I think that's what kept me here, just having that community and the tribe of people that are trying to progress in whatever they're trying to progress in.
Yeah, sure. It sounds like you just jumped right in and
straight in, man. I'm a Gemini, man. We jump straight into shit. Yeah, we trial and error.
Yeah, but it's interesting that you just decided to stay. So most people will, let's say, come to Bali for a vacation and then they still have life back home. So what was life in London like before you left?
It was good, actually. I remember before I left, it's common for people to think that you're leaving where you are because you're trying to escape something. So you want to come to Bali because, and it does happen, of course, it's normal. People think perhaps changing location can change the way you feel or put you in a better state of mind, for example. And it works for some people, great. But for me, I was actually, business was probably at the peak of where it's been. So obviously COVID was there, so we were still kind of locked down anyway. So London was a bit dead. Like London was very dead actually. So I was like working in my room. So my life was very, had a very, very, very fucking tight routine. That was my life before I left London. Because you're in your house. So I was like, how do I keep my sanity? Routine. So I just had like a really tight routine with like, whether it's food, working out, like reading, learning. So I was just in the zone basically. And then
you couldn't leave the house, no?
we could go for like walks. You could go to the supermarket. I think technically there was a range that you can go to, but I think, you know, it wasn't really monitored that well. But yeah, there was nowhere really to go that was open like that. So this was like in the peak of, do you know what? I can't remember, but maybe like, it went through phases. So sometimes it was like super lockdown for like a month or a few weeks. Then it went to like a bit more chill, and it kind of just went through the waves of the pandemic. So yeah, before I left, actually I left and I went to Nigeria first. So I didn't come straight to Bali. I wanted to. No, my plan was to go to Nigeria for Christmas, and then from Nigeria to come here. So my plan was, okay, I'm gonna leave the UK anyway for a while, and then Bali was closed in January. So I stayed in Nigeria for like 3 months, and then went to Ghana and then came here. So even before coming here, I was already like in the, you know, I guess traveler mindset. But yeah, London life was cool. So like I had just actually, so I just ended a relationship actually. Yeah, so ended
that matters. It's always the
yeah, kind of. But you know what's the maddest thing is that the way I ended it was like, well, I knew I didn't want to be in that situation anymore for a few different reasons, but like the main reason why I couldn't even explain. I was just like, there's just something that I need to do, and it wasn't here. I just knew that it wasn't like me settling in somewhere in London or just outside London and doing that whole life thing here. But I couldn't really articulate that to my ex. So it was definitely a difficult breakup. And then like, 2 months later I was in Bali, basically. And that just all happened within, 2 months, maybe 3 months, like span of time. And I was like, okay, maybe this is why I had to go and like expand my life experience. Yeah.
So what was that like for you then, going from how long were you in a relationship?
Just under a year, so not crazy.
So then were you living together in the pandemic?
In the pandemic, yeah, actually. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
What was that
for
like?
a while. It was cool for the most part. It was cool. Yeah. Just had to, obviously because it was challenging with work, because you're working in the same space. Everything is like here. So that was challenging, but otherwise it was cool, to be honest. Yeah, it was cool. I just feel like we just weren't as compatible as we probably hoped or thought initially. That was all. That was the main thing. But yeah.
So it sounds like you're like a super positive guy. You trust your intuition. It sounds like, which is awesome. Yeah. And so you must have had some challenges along the way. So what are some of those challenges that kind of like pop up in your mind now, whether it's as a musician or in business or travel?
But like just in life in general. So a part that I missed out actually in my like traveling life was when I was 25. I moved to Qatar for like a year to work as a financial advisor. So we were helping expats out in the Middle East to either invest their money back in the UK or save money or insurance, boring stuff anyway. So I was there for a year, and like it was a great experience, but an eye-opening experience, and an experience that probably helped the view of myself change. So being out in Qatar as a financial advisor, 25, 26, black, dark skin, like there's not many people that look like me doing what I do in Qatar. The people that look like me were cleaners and they were security and whatnot, right? So I think subconsciously, and because we're always taught anyway, you know, being black means that you have to work 2 times as hard or much harder than your colleagues, basically. So I feel like a combination of that and a combination of my age and like lack of experience, I'll say, it was a challenge for me to actually do that job to the level that I wanted to, because I was going into meetings already. Bear in mind, like my clients are generally going to be like 40 plus white males, English. You know, we don't speak the same, we don't think the same, you know, we don't, it's harder to relate to each other, is what my belief was going into these meetings. So I'm already going in feeling inferior. And that's why I feel like a lot of like black people, or my friend says melanin rich, to try and like switch the black to something more positive, because like even saying the word black can sometimes be used as a negative thing, like, you know, blacklist, blackboard, etc., etc. They're all like negative connotations to it. So he tried to switch it to melanin rich, which I really like, because it just means like, yeah, we're rich in melanin and we're rich. It's like programming ourselves to think of ourselves differently. But anyway, like going into those meetings, I was already failing every time I walked into the room, because I already thought, like, I shouldn't be here. Like, I am inferior, basically. So it will come across, because I'm trying to be like you. I'm trying to speak more like you. I'm trying to be more like my white colleagues. I'm trying to do all these things, as opposed to me being like, yo, I'm me. And if I'm confident and I believe in myself, I can go into these rooms, be me, and people that aren't for me aren't for me. But the people that do like fuck with the way that I talk, or like my young energy, or my, I don't know, I guess being a cooler black person, like, you know, whatever you want to call it, like they will want to work with me. Because at the end of the day, we always work with people that we like more so than anything else. Yeah, they have to be knowledgeable, and yeah, they have to know their shit, but I have to actually like you to work with you. So like, it definitely opened up my, coming back to the UK, because it didn't work out so well out there. Like, it took me, I had to kind of rebuild like my like financial situation. I had to rebuild like my confidence within like my work. But then I kind of over time realized that the more I am myself, even within finance, I can be the one black person in the room. But because I'm the one black person in the room, that is actually my strength. So I shouldn't try to fit in with them. I should actually proudly stand out. And then people that want to work with me because I stand out, and because I'm different, and because I still know my shit, they're going to work with me. And then that's how like things started to, I suppose, change in life in general, like even day-to-day life in general. You know, just being more myself, and just knowing that people that are for me are going to be for me. And it's cool if they don't want to work with me, but I'm still going to get clients over here. So, yeah, man. But definitely shout out to another like older person in my field who kind of gave me that like insight, basically, because he was also like black, older, did similar story, but he was like 45, and he just told me just be myself with work and everything, and you'll just get more clients. And yeah.
Wow, so he was kind of almost like a mentor for you.
Yeah, I'll say mentor, brief mentor, like, but I definitely see him as like as a mentor for sure. Yeah.
So, what would you say are some beliefs that drove you in the past that don't anymore?
I think we touched on that already, no? What was it? the trying to do what my family think is right type thing.
Yeah.
Kinda.
I guess kind of.
Yeah, I think so.
Sure. So,
Unless you want another answer.
I mean, no, it's all good. It's all good.
There's probably other beliefs too, to be fair, but yeah.
Yeah. Is there any that like stick out for you? That anything that you haven't already mentioned?
Other beliefs. I mean, I don't know, it might be boring, but like religious beliefs, like that's one. Like just, like I grew up in church, so my family were like Pentecostal Christians. I went to Catholic school, primary school and secondary school. Then my family kind of moved back to like Catholic church, but long story short, you know, I grew up a church boy, you know, church on Sunday, and the way that they would teach us about God in church was obviously very normal for like how a church would teach you about God, which is, you know, something that you pray to that's outside of yourself, or something that you look for hope, or something that you are not really attached to per se, but you know, you have to look outside of yourself for this thing to come and save you, basically. So yeah, definitely growing up and just, I suppose, reading more and just like listening to my own thoughts more, you kind of realize that, yeah, God is kind of that, but he can also be just like God is nature, like I think I mentioned before, like God is like everything. So even in the Bible it says like the God's secret is that Jesus lives within us. So even if whether or not you believe in Christianity or whatever the case is, I still believe that there's stories or lessons in the Bible that just are definitely like potent and can relate to like modern day life. And my perspective of Jesus changed from, you know, a white man that did all these things and died on the cross to wherever he was, as an example for everyone, basically. That because we're all children of God, and we're all children of like whatever the source is, and AKA so is Jesus, right? Is what they told us anyway. So okay, he is, so then so are we. So then we're also made in God's image the same way he is. Okay, cool, so are we. And we also, the Bible does also say that Jesus lives within us. Okay, cool, so are we. Or the kingdom of God lives within us. So that means, okay, yeah, he was a great man, and like I'm not trying to say like I'm necessarily fucking Jesus, of course, but I'm saying that we all, or he was just an example for if we're open to accepting that like divine power, let's say, of whatever it is, and we try to walk in alignment with that, then like our power and what we can do is like whatever, it's limitless, like, you know. So yeah, definitely a belief that's changed, like growing up and yeah, learning more.
So in 2 months' time, you become
just like that out of nowhere. Wow.
You,
Wow. Alright, cool. Hey, can I go now?
Pops out a little pudding person. So you're starting your music career, and it sounds like everything's popping off. Everyone in Bali knows who you are. And so what was that like, the moment that you heard, Tony, I'm pregnant?
What do you think it was like?
You tell me.
I mean, what's the one word that comes up? It was fuck, actually, was the word that came up. Like, obviously, like, you know, it's happens, but it wasn't planned, obviously. So it was a like challenging few weeks to, decide what we wanted to do. So yeah, definitely, and then obviously having to like tell family, and that conversation being a mad one.
What was that like?
I mean, it's like they had to get so I had time to process the shock, right? They had to get like the shock all at once, like, because one is a shock of, you're dating this person seriously. And also you're having a child. So it's like both things for them colliding at once. And then, but you're not even anywhere close to us. So like all these things at once, like them having to process, was definitely challenging. But yeah, at the end of the day, I'm not a child, So after whatever few days, obviously they get their time to process, or however long it took, and then everyone came back just super happy to be grandparents and to be aunties. But yeah, man, definitely still is like you go through like waves of like you're super excited, and you're like, oh shit, but there's so much to fucking do, so much to think about. Like it's not just about you anymore. It's about like this little baby. It's about how do we like create something that's sustainable. How do we, give him like the most chill, the best life that we can sort of give him. And I feel like being here obviously makes it easier for us, at least, just because we don't have to like think about the little mundane stuff that you have to do back in the UK or back in Europe. Like even going shopping or cleaning and all that kind of stuff. Right here, if you have the means, you can have someone to help you to do those things. So I feel like here we're gonna be able to like just give him a way different life, man. It's gonna be pretty dope if we end up staying here, which I think we probably will for at least a while. Maybe go back for a bit, but yeah, man, it's just gonna be. We're gonna be able to do it our own way, which I think is cool. And I think it's actually very like timely, because it's how to put it? Like it's either coincidentally or not, this at the same time that I'm like creating this baby, which is music, I'm also like creating an actual baby. So it's like, okay, this is coincidentally happening at the same time. So I think perhaps like I was meant to like follow my own truth, in order to also show my son that like it's okay to follow your own truth. Like even if, which I'm not gonna do, but even if I was the type of dad who would try to put my own like wants and desires on him, like, which I'm not gonna do, but obviously he can see that I'm living in my truth, so it gives him permission to do the same. So I feel like it's, probably not a coincidence.
Beautiful. Congratulations. You're
Thank
be
you.
awesome dad.
Thank you.
I have one last question for you. If you could travel back in time, and give some advice to little Tony, little 10-year-old Tony, what would your advice be?
Little 10-year-old Tony, what would the advice be? Like, don't try to look for acceptance. Don't try to fit in. Don't be a follower. Like all of these things that like kind of fit in the same basket. Like just listen to yourself. Just trust yourself more.